everyone's talking about Luigi Mangione. I'm gonna break down the case as a former federal prosecutor. It's gonna be a very tough case to defend on the merits, which means that it's gonna be hard to argue that it wasn't me. There's DNA that puts Mangione at the scene on the water bottle, his fingerprint on the burner cell phone, video evidence which appears to be him, ballistic evidence that matches the 3D printed ghost gun that they found on him, and importantly, the manifesto that was in his possession when he was arrested. Mangione waived extradition and was transferred from Pennsylvania, where he was arrested at the McDonald's on gun charges, to New York, where he faces first-degree murder charges in state court and federal murder charges as well. So let's talk about both of those. New York has a very narrow first-degree murder statutes. In some states like California, where I am, first-degree murder just means that it was premeditated, and planning, plotting, and lying in wait is enough. But not New York. You need something more. So prosecutors in New York, specifically Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, charged Mangione with terrorism. I think this is a big mistake. Terrorism simply means that the murder was intended to either intimidate the public or influence the government. The problem with charging terrorism, it brings in evidence of why Mangione did it. So now all of a sudden, Mangione and the defense are going to be talking about the health insurance industry. Well, we know that he has a lot of sympathy. And it's not like this is the type of case where there's an argument that evidence was planted. People think that Mangione did it. They just don't fault him for it. And now you have someone who is admittedly good looking, very smart by all accounts, comes from a very wealthy family. A lot of people have strong views in his favor. And certainly, I don't condone any type of violence, but now that you're bringing all this evidence into the state case, it presents the very real possibility of jury nullification. Jury nullification means that the jurors believe that he did it, but they're gonna vote not guilty and acquit him anyway. What's important to know about New York State is that they don't have the death penalty and they haven't had it for 20 years. So regardless of whether it's first or second degree murder, Mangione just faces life in prison, but not in the federal case. The federal system still has the death penalty, and now you're seeing federal charges on top of state charges. Now they could have alleged a federal murder because it's terrorism, but prosecutors took a different route and said because the murder affected interstate commerce under the Commerce Clause, it's a federal murder case. The Department of Justice has a long-standing policy where they don't stack these types of cases on top of each other, even though they can, and it's not double jeopardy under the dual sovereign doctrine. So a lot of people think that Mangione is being treated differently or unfairly because he's being charged by both the feds and the state. He has a great lawyer, Karen Friedman, who was the number 2 at the Manhattan DA's office for many years and happens to be married to Mark Agnifilo, who's representing Diddy in his federal case. So you have 2 of the best lawyers on 2 of the biggest cases in the country and a New York criminal defense power couple. So this is something we're going to continue to follow very closely as Mangione makes his initial appearance in both state and federal court. And it's going to be interesting to see, do the feds seek the death penalty in this case? And if so, do they try to leverage a plea out of Mangione? Thanks for following. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.